Welcome to the Art of Succession podcast with Barrett Young. Join us as we explore the strategies, stories, and insights that shape the journey of leadership transitions and business success. No matter where you find yourself along the journey, this is the podcast where you'll find the tools to make it happen.
The feedback and the support that I got was just incredible, Barrett. And I was like, I can't let that go. If we feel from our gut and we think from our gut, our spirit, we know. And I just felt like so many conversations were off. My gut always leads me right. And so I would say to people, go with your gut. Don't go with the first offer.
Welcome back to part 2 of my discussion with my friend Nesha Pai. In part 1 of our discussion, Nesha shared her story of founding her accounting firm and the pivotal decision in 2024 to walk away from a buyout. If you missed that, you can find that video right here. Otherwise, let's get back to our discussion. I understand you've been on a hiring freeze for 3 years. That probably has something to do with why you would consider selling in the first place. But
yes,
leading up to that decision and taking this marketing email from this broker, what is going through your mind of, I want to do something different, or I'm getting restless, or, talk me through that just a little bit leading up to last year at this time.
Of why I wanted to sell?
Yeah. What caused, or what were those feelings?
Yeah, great.
The hole that wasn't being filled by your firm at this time.
I think I had my last big hiring snafu. It was bad. And it was actually through a firm that I shall not name. It did not go well. And it just took me down of, I am just tired of this. I am tired of trying to hire and not finding good people, and there aren't good people. And so I said to myself, this is as far as I can go. This is as far as I can go, because I'm not going to be able to hire anyone else. And I believed that in my mind at the time fully. And I said, if this is as high as I can go, why not just sell now? Right. And I not that I love what I do and stuff, but I thought, man, I'm going to go out there and build this other business. Well, hello, Nesha, like cash isn't growing on the trees. People aren't just out there hiring speakers and hiring, like I had this whole, Disney World idea in my mind of how I could pursue this secondary business. And if I sold my accounting firm, I'd have all this time to do it.
Yeah. So let's talk about that other business just now. I know you've published a book with it that's on its 5th year edition that's going to be coming out soon. So
just came out. Mm-hmm.
You've published a book about your experience. You've started to speak internationally. What was that doing for you alongside running the firm? And, what caused you to shift and think I could do this full time?
I would walk off stage and just realize, like, man, this stuff lights me up. This stuff lights me up. This is the part I love.
And what's your main content that you're talking about?
So my main keynote's Courageous Dreamers Win. And I even start with my story of the Jerry Maguire quitting. And I really want to encourage people to not only dream big, but to take the big action, right? Take the big action because life's too short. And so I started walking off these stages feeling lit up, like, man, this is what I want to do. Now, to pursue a speaking business is so incredibly difficult. I mean, unless you're a celebrity ex-CEO, you are scraping to get paid and find the business and the work. And so, yeah, I thought, I can go do this and I can pursue it. And if I have time to do it, time is great because then I can go get the business, but that's not how it works, right? There's got to be the demand and you've got to be in demand. And if you're not in demand, then you're kind of screwed. So, that's when I went back to thinking, okay, well, maybe I need to have this income so that I can support this side, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of business owners, I mean, my reality when I went out and started my company is I didn't have enough work to fill a full-time job. It was like, so there's only so much you can do to make the phone ring. And so, I've heard the advice for, if you walk out without business, without tons, without your salary replaced, go get a part-time job somewhere, because that is going to keep your mind occupied. It's going to fund you being able to make those decisions to bring new business in. And this is kind of what you're saying here with the speaking thing is you could not have walked away from this a year ago and had 40 hours of time to fill with locking down deals and even traveling, once a month, twice a month, whatever the case might be. So there's still a development stage there that you weren't dealing with the reality, or you weren't aware until you went through this process. Oh, wow, I could do both of these simultaneously for a little
Right.
bit longer.
I mean, I would have gone back to eating ramen noodles. No lie. I would have been broke. And I'm like, why do I want to go back to being broke at this juncture of my life?
Yeah. Because as you said, this buyout would have gone straight into future
Yeah,
funding.
I would. Because I'm
You
like,
couldn't have lived off of this for the 10 years.
No. And I thought, okay, that's crazy. So I realized, okay, I can actually grow my firm a little bit more. Some of the anxiety of hiring is going away. And I'm like, well, maybe I hire someone in 2025, and let's see what else I can do.
Okay. I mean, talk to me about the success of building the other business, though, the indicators for you up to that point, like speaking gigs, how that's going, booking different places you've traveled to. Show me some of the positive signals that caused you to think I could do this full time.
Yeah. I got accepted to speak at Karen Brady's Women in Business and Tech conference, which is a big conference in London in 23. I've spoken like at different places here in Charlotte with like Bank of America. I just did the North Carolina Government Finance Officers Association, and like, my largest audience yet, which was 300 people, and just all the feedback I'm getting. And I'm getting paid for these gigs. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I thought, man, I got something here, right? I got something here. Now, again, the hustle that it would take for me to replace my income would absolutely kill me. Like physically, I would not be able to handle the hustle. And to pursue a speaking business, it would be a 40-hour week. And I don't want to put the time into that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
I mean, what's the focus of that 40 hours look like to do that full time versus what you do now? And how many hours does it take to build it?
Yeah, I would be
slower.
pitching and pitching and pitching and pitching and sending emails and making phone calls. And it's kind of like, back in the beginning days of my accounting firm, trying to get accounting business. And I'm like, do I really want to go back there when now I can have my main income earner and then do this on the side? So I don't have to like hustle for it so hard. I think when you have to hustle for something so hard, maybe it doesn't become as enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, just the fortune last year of this not happening, when something like the year you had in 24 happens and you're supposed to be creative and hustle and come up with all this other stuff. It's like you sit down there and you're supposed to pitch and you're like, I can't even wrap my brain around what's going on me right now.
That's right.
What's going on with me right now. It's like, how could I say that I'm an inspiration to go out and tell people to? So yeah, I totally get that. So, so the dream of speaking is still on the table, correct? That's just something that's, you're going to run that alongside your accounting firm now. When you made the decision and you're going through all this stuff, talk to me about how your firm was the anchor for you. Other than just it's a steady source of revenue. How did you wake up to make the decisions and be there for your clients through that process?
Yeah, I mean, I have an incredible client base. And that was one of the things that was kind of heartbreaking to me of like, I'm going to get rid of these amazing clients. And let's take it a step further. My two incredible team members, Tanya and Erica, shout out to them, who've been with me through thick and thin all these years. And I thought, man, if I could replicate them, I would be a multi-million-dollar firm. They are the example of the kind of employee that we would want in our firms. Incredible. And so they gave me the emotional support, including my clients. I sent out this mass email to everybody when my sister died. I sent out another mass email when I got cancer. And I'm like, guys, like, this is not my year. And I just want you to know that I'm going to be a little absent, but I'm here for you. And the feedback and the support that I got was just incredible, Barrett. And I was like, I can't let that go. I can't let that go.
Yeah. I know that, I mean, that's a positive thing. On the buying side, it's a negative. It's like dad can't retire. I can't get him to stop. But how, I mean, there's the anchor, there's this helps me so much. But then there's also the side when it's down. How do you separate the performance of your firm from your own value, your own perception of how things are going too? Because I know it can shore it up, but it can also become a detriment where it's just like, well, when the firm's up, I'm up. When the firm's down, I'm down. So how have you been able to do that?
Interesting. I'm not a great compartmentalizer because, I'm a woman, but for some reason, I've been able to compartmentalize really, really well because I'm authentic and I'm vulnerable enough to I share just enough and I connect with my people and I'm able to show up. I'm able to just show up and stay up for you, client or team member. But then when the laptop's shut, I can go and cry in my bed or I can go for a long walk and be in my thoughts. So I'm able to compartmentalize and I will give myself credit for that because I'm not a good compartmentalizer in general, but I have been able to do that with my firm.
Okay. Which I imagine is going, you can send out the email to the clients and you thankfully had very empathetic clients, but at some point through 2024, your clients are going to be like, yeah, but we still have work that we're paying you for that you need to get
And the
done.
work got done. That's the difference because of my team, right? When you have a monthly bookkeeping recurring revenue, the work got done. So, did I have to delay phone calls? Sure. They were so understanding of that. But the work still got done. And that's the key.
Yeah. Because it's not an excuse. It's a context. This is the context that
Right.
we're in, but you're not sending that email every single month when work continues to pile up.
No.
Like, nope, sorry, I'm dealing with cancer. Your books are going to have to wait until next year.
No. So. And, no. And it's funny because when you have this kind of business model and you have processes set up, the work can be done by your employees, right? Which is what continued to happen. And I just had to log on to do some review. There might have been some 911 phone calls, but for the most part, I'm proud of the fact that we were able to continue the service without really any hiccups or major delays.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. Yeah. Has that been, talk to me about the mindset shift going into 2025. And you said you're coming back a little bit from this hiring freeze. That has to have played a part in it, right? Because amazing employees, even if it's just 1 out of 10, will be like, okay, now I get it. This is worth doing. Is that what's causing you to look more optimistically towards hiring in the future?
Yeah, I was like, okay, we are capped out. So at various points over the last 3 years, I've had to have this wait list situation and we've lost some people for different reasons. And so when we lose a person, I'm off the wait list and then someone comes to fill that space. And I thought, okay, I think I'm ready emotionally, energetically to try to look for somebody again. And then I can have more capacity, right? I need the capacity to grow my numbers. But there's that fine line, right? Like I don't want to get too big because then it's that whole what's the economic term when you grow, but then you're losing more money at that year. What's it called? It's called something.
I'm blanking on it too right now.
But see what I'm talking about? Like I don't want to I don't want to grow and hire so much. Like, will one person be enough? Will 2 people be enough? Because at some point the economies of scale, that's it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The economies of scale are going to go down. And I'm like, I'm at this like bread and butter, like I'm at this great point right now. And I don't want to mess that up.
Mm-hmm. How else has your energy towards the firm been renewed in your decision to stick with it?
It's like I'll liken it to like the middle child that is now your favorite child. You know what I mean? It's the middle child and it's like you were kind of took her for granted a little bit. And now you're like, oh my God, you you are at the top of my list. You're going to get everything in the will. Like, I just love you so much. And that's how I feel about my firm.
So before, the speaking was the fresh new thing, and it's like, I got to do the stuff over here. But now your perspective has shifted and been like, no, the stuff over here in the firm is what enables me to go to the speaking and be able to say no to gigs that aren't worth it and stuff like that. That's what you're saying has happened now. It's giving you a fresh new perspective on how beneficial this is for you ultimately.
Exactly.
Okay. How have you shifted your business model based off of you haven't sold it now? It only got you your asking price of 2 times revenue. You realize that's not enough to retire, but I imagine you're going to want to sell your firm in the future because you're not the type of person that's just going to walk away and shut it down. So how have you decided, if I'm going to dedicate another 10 years of my life here to this firm, I'm going to make sure it's worth 3 times or 4 times or some other number in the future?
Interesting. Yeah. So I did the math and I was like, okay, I'm 54. I don't feel 54. So that means I got a lot of years, God willing, that I want to work, that I want to create. And so I thought, I'm going to put in, let's just say 8 to 10 really good years into this. Right. And grow it. And one of the things I think I said earlier was I wanted to add more into the advisory aspect. I was like, I got a lot of work I can do there, a lot. Right. And so I'm like, I'm not done with that part of building my firm. And so I want to take these next several years to build that, to increase the value of my firm. I don't think I've gotten to the maximum value that I could get to.
What will be some of those indicators? Let's say that you're coming up on 7 years and it's like, could I do it now versus, the full 10 and you're like, no, I'm still not there. What are you looking for now for indicators?
Obviously the energy level, the, time and investment I want to put in, I'll know, am I done? Am I done with that? Has my revenue grown another 2 to 3 times? Those will be some indicators for me to be like, all right, now's a good time to like dip out.
I know, just go back to the acquisition a little bit. I know that the broker probably brought you other offers besides this solo, parallel situation to you, somebody else running their own company, looking at a department. So what are some of the deal breakers for you for acquisition back then and then now? Cause I know, private equity will give you what you want for your firm. You want 3 times? Sure. We'll give you 3 times. And then
the biggest thing for me was trying to gauge culture.
Yeah.
Right. And I had a weird situation where there was a couple who it was a real estate umbrella and they wanted to diversify.
A property manager.
Yeah. And they wanted to diversify with services, right? Like financial advisory, tax, bookkeeping. I really didn't know their angle, but they were going to make an offer, and the husband and wife invited me to stay in their vacation home. Actually, no, that was their home on a golf course in Florida, so I could get to know them better. And that just weirded me out. It just weirded me out. And I was like, nope,
They thought they were whining and dining you and showing you the other side, how the other half lives.
Right. Or
that's kind of weird.
Are you going to ask me to put my keys in the bowl? Like when I show up, Yeah. I'm like, so there were just weird vibes. I think that they're like, if we feel from our gut and we think from our gut, our spirit, we know. And I just felt like so many conversations were off. So many conversations are off. Like, nope, you're not going to be good for my baby. Nope, you're not going to be good for my baby. Like, and I just think that I could get that in the first few conversations. And some people were like, I'm not giving you 2.2 times. And I'm like, well, I'm already gotten an offer for 2 times. So
easy.
Screw you. Problem solved. Yeah. Yeah.
That's an easy one. Culture though is harder.
Yeah.
Because you get into it more, you get into the discussion more. And you were all the way up to the signing table almost with this guy. So how do you measure that culture going through that process, how do you know that they're not just blowing smoke up your butt and saying, "Oh yeah, we care about our employees and our clients are the most important thing," and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I Google the hell out of everybody. I got a lot of practice while I was on Bumble of how to Google people. But he came up for lunch. I would always want to meet the person in person, had several conversations, asked a ton of questions. And these questions were not just basic,
do you care for employees?
Yeah. Yes. They were like,
yes, I do.
Give me examples. Give me examples of your firm. Tell me about a time you took care of a client situation that was a potential negative, and give me names. And I mean, of course, people can make this stuff up too, but the more questions I asked that were deeper, that were not met with resistance or frustration, I knew that I can tell, right? Hey, this person's blowing smoke or not.
I mean, our time's almost up, and that went quick, as expected.
It did. Oh my God.
Was there anything else that you wanted to share, Nesha, just about this process, or warnings, or encouragement to other business owners out there that we haven't touched on yet?
Yeah. I would say, number one, just go with your gut. Because I asked myself this question. I said, Nesha, what if this was a PE firm and they wanted to give you, I don't know, 3 or 4 times.
Ridiculous amount.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Just shut up and walk away. We'll do whatever we want with it.
I think that I still would have said no. And the reason I would have is because I care too much about my people. I care way too much about my people. And so my gut always leads me right. And so I would say to people, go with your gut. Don't go with the first offer. And don't go for just the biggest offer, right? Because, we hear these stories of where they take your firm and they just blow it up into a million pieces. I think that would be heartbreaking to me.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I got to ask a tough follow-up question. If you don't have an answer yet, that's fine. But if you care about your people, are you taking steps that over the next 8 to 10 years, you might identify an internal successor to the firm?
I have talked about that with one of my people. And here's what's interesting. My 2 people, neither one of them are CPAs, but they're probably outwork and outsmart any CPA that I've ever hired. And it's a possibility. It's a possibility. Yeah, my director of operations would be a possibility if that's something she wanted. Absolutely.
North Carolina, though, rules is it 100% CPA ownership for a firm? So you guys would have to drop the CPA firm title in order.
We'd have to rebrand and all of that, which we don't really even operate as a CPA firm, right? We're bookkeepers. You
guys aren't doing reviews, audits, or anything like
that. So. No, and I'm just irritated because we can't be I told you that. We can't be a fun firm name like the Green Abacus, right? But
unless you become a Maryland CPA firm, you can become a non-resident Maryland CPA firm. Name yourself whatever you want.
Yeah, no, Barrett, that's a great question because that's a possibility, absolutely. And should something happen to me,
that's the unspoken side of that.
Is my son would actually
this way
get my firm, and then he couldn't run it because he's not a CPA. So it's like these are things I've thought about, right? These are all things I've thought about.
Okay, good to hear. All right. Anything further before we jump into the lightning round?
No, man, that was a great conversation, Barrett.
I appreciate you sharing. It's good to hear the perspective. Like I said, I've gotten perspective from business owners that have sold, but not so much about the business owners that decided not to yet. So I appreciate it. So, all right, let's jump into the lightning round. So first question is going to be coffee or tea, and how do you like it?
Coffee, and I like it caramel, which means a little bit of sugar, a little bit of half and half.
Okay. Awesome. Pie or cake? And do you have a favorite kind?
Well, I would say pie because of my last name. Cake and German chocolate.
Okay. All right. Yep. What do you still have your podcast? Or you had a podcast piece of the pie, I think.
Yeah, I rebranded it, but yeah.
Okay. What is a common belief among entrepreneurs that you would want to challenge?
That you can work less hours than corporate America.
So they believe, so it's like this 4-hour work week Tim Ferriss thing. If I can just cruise and passive income will come to me freely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not selling it, Nesha, but that is the reality. So you got to face up to it. So I like it. What is your favorite holiday and why?
let me think about this. What do I love? I love Christmas, although it's so stressful. It's weird. I think I love the feelings around Christmas and the decorations and the gatherings and sort of the love and light that come out of that holiday.
Okay. Awesome. Are you a morning person or a night person? And do you have a favorite routine?
Can I say neither? Because I'm not.
Yeah. I've been getting that a lot lately.
I get up at 8 a.m. No, I get up at 7 a.m., maybe 8, which is late for a lot of people. And I go to bed by like 9 or 10. So I'm neither.
Okay.
A routine.
Do you have a favorite routine either way?
Yes, I love to get up. I have started doing like a prayer time. I work out in the morning, which I love, gets me going. At night, I love Netflixing and chilling, watching a cool movie or documentary, and I love reading at night. So one of those.
Sounds good. Yeah, I know that question kind of weighs towards the whole, unless, sleep when you're dead, you should only be getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep as an
No,
entrepreneur.
that is
And
so
I'm like,
wrong.
you can be a night person and still go to bed at like 10 o'clock. That's just
I need
late
my 8
nights.
hours of sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Okay, awesome.
Mhm.
What is one thing that you would want your successor to remember you for?
That I left the world and my firm in a better place.
And where are you finding creativity right now?
Oh my gosh, and everything. So I'm getting ready to go back to Paris, which is my like sensory overload city that I love so much, that speaks to my soul. And I go there and I just start creating. Things just come to me. But I find creativity just every day, like outside in nature, especially if I'm going on a walk. And that's why I need all these other things that I'm doing, because it just helps me create.
Cool.
Yeah.
Was last year your first Paris trip, or had you been there
It was
before?
my third,
Okay.
yeah, that I did long term. Yeah.
Nice. And anything specific about the 2 to 3 months that you love about that?
I've made friends out there,
Okay, cool.
and expats as well as natives. And so it gives me like, an anchor there when I'm there. And it just I tell people, get outside of your environment. It doesn't have to be as extravagant as going to Paris, but getting outside of your environment helps you, like, your brain just open up to creativity.
Mm-hmm. And that's a working vacation for you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
not
another
like
thing.
you
I
take
work
3
from
months
there.
off from the
No,
company.
no.
You're still involved in it, but it's a different context, a different perspective.
Yeah. Different hours, right? I'll
Yeah.
be like, yo, my hours are shortened and here's what I'm doing.
It's a good point. You got to get everything to your team probably before they're even awake so that they can work on it. Yeah, good. I like it. And other than the Paris trip, what do you have coming up this next year that's got you really excited? Or maybe just that. I'm not going to say limit it.
Yeah, no, that, but also like, what can I come up with in creating? So, speaking to the advisory part of my firm, which I really, really want to focus on this year, and what that looks like, right? What's that going to look like? And then just creating more with the Nesha Pai brand, right? Like whether it's more workshops or another speech or that sort of thing. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. And Nesha, where can people go to find out more about you?
Yeah, I hang out on Instagram at Nesha Pai, Neshapai. I'm on LinkedIn at Nesha Pai CPA. I also have a website, www.neshapai.com.
Okay, awesome. Well, Nesha, I really appreciate you just sharing your experience with me and my audience, and I can't thank you enough for letting this happen.
Barrett, I adore you. Thank you. This is so fun. I felt like we could talk for so much longer, but thank you.
I appreciate that. We'll definitely have to have you on in the future. I hope they've enjoyed this conversation with Nesha as much as I have. Here on The Art of Succession, we have interviews with business owners twice a month with stories just like Nesha's. If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, we have an interview form down in the description below. If this has been at all helpful for you, I'd ask that you please share it with someone else. And I want to thank you for watching The Art of Succession.